It is our choices that show us what we truly are, far more than our abilities.
We RAD Dads, bringing a soft edge to a hard topic. Join us every week as we talk to real people with real stories, from the everyday single parent to family professionals, and find entertainment along the way. Join me, Walter J. Eggers, as I discover and share wisdom. Positive changes start here.
Episode 58. Hey guys, real quick, I made a huge and or minor, depending on your auditory, nervous system and or listening skills, mistake, and I'm just going to roll with it. You know what? I'm going to leave it in there, but apologies. The intro was recorded on the wrong microphone, but it was so powerful, there's no way I could recapture it. So bear with me for the intro and the outro. Understand that I'm always looking to improve that, but also understand that life's full of mistakes and we need to learn from it. Apparently, I haven't learned this one yet. Hello and welcome back again, Rad Dads. Walter. You know what? I'm always just so pumped, and I'm always so charged and ready, and I don't even know why I would need to explain this to you at this point. But you know what? I'm so happy that you're spending your time with me this week, and I have got an amazing guest. How many times have I said that? Every time to answer that question preemptively. This week's show is something that I have been building toward for about a year now, and as you listen to this, as a matter of fact, you are now one day away from the 1-year anniversary of We Rad Dads podcast. My first 3 episodes aired 1 year ago today, and I am so happy to bring you the person who helped me establish this and understand podcasting and understand what it was to be an entrepreneur and what the pitfalls that I would see coming into this. I have with us this week Mary Kathryn Johnson of Mommy Loves, of ParentEntrepreneurPower.com, of ParentEntrepreneurSuccess.com, and Beauty Tech Tools, amongst so many other things. Mary is no stranger to the entrepreneurs of the online world and the physical world. I mean, people were talking like John Lee Dumas, Pant Flynn, Aaron Walker, Ryan Levesque, Grant Baldwin, Josh Shipp, Corbett Miller. Like, if you, one of those names, you've got to know at least one of those names if you're listening to this podcast right now. I am super excited to talk to Mary, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to tell she's excited to talk to us. Goes on and on about her entrepreneurial journey and the pitfalls along the way and the obstacles and that sort of thing. And you may be wondering, why do you have a married mother of 2 entrepreneur on a We Rad Dads podcast? Because I'm getting back to where I was starting here. This is a resources episode. And this is something with season 2 that I've been really excited about bringing you guys, because I know that in my quest to become feel normal again, to be myself, that I felt the pull to try and do something that was out of the box. And here we are. You're listening to it, and you've been listening to it for 58 episodes now. Holy smokes. So listen, we're going to talk about a lot of tools and everything, and it's about entrepreneurship and recurring and just side revenue. I don't know about you, but I can totally use a little bit of side revenue here. And I need to start thinking and acting outside the box. You know, our conversation will go over about the benefits of where you stand right now and the parallels of entrepreneurship and parenting. Her personal quote is out of this world. She talks about making decisions based on the knowledge and experience you have now and not second guessing it in the future. We all do that. I do that with parenting. I do that with business. I do that with everything. The benefit of hindsight plays right into that. We talk about letting specialists help you, and we'll get into that. Thinking small, and the effect of that is being small. We go on to talk about a lot of really cool things, but I won't spoil it all here right now. We're just going to jump right into it. Not before I talk about some resources of my own, by the way. Amazon affiliates. Guys, I really appreciate you using my affiliate link with We Rad Dads. It has been helping supporting the show. And I don't just want to, I don't want your charity. I want you to get what you need and what you want, and not to have to pay a penny extra for it. And that's exactly what our Amazon affiliate program is. You can find that link on the quick links, which is behind, for all you iTunesers out there, is behind the show art on the quick links podcast player. And for the rest of you guys, follow this one through to www.weraddads.com/Mary KJ. That's Mary Kathryn Johnson. That's Mary, MARY KJ, the letters K and J. We'll keep it simple. And what that's going to do, the Amazon affiliate actually gives us a small percentage of your purchase, your overall purchase that would normally just go to Amazon. So great way to support us while getting the things that you need. Bookmark that link every time you need to use something from Amazon, and we get a little kickback. I love and appreciate the fact that you guys are supporting me. So awesome. Another thing I can try and do for you, I have the resources page up, talk about other podcasts. I've got the 7 Essentials download. I've got an affiliate also with Audible trial. You know, if you like online content, if you like to know some of these books and that I'm talking about on the resources page, you know, go get your free 30-day trial of Audible and get a book, get a free book with that. 30 days and a free book. Like, there's no losing there. Anyway, before I go on to this diatribe any further, I'm just going to jump right into this nugget-packed episode. And guys, if you hear nothing else, please, this episode is a groundbreaker for so many reasons, and I hope it gets you thinking differently. And if that's the case, share it. Share this episode with a friend. That's how We Rad Dads grows. I need your help and support in that way only. If you do nothing else, please just share the show. Just talk about it. Say, hey, listen, my mind got blown to bits because of what Mary was talking about on We Rad Dads this week. Guys, I would be super appreciative. Yeah, tag us in that. You know, do it on all your social channels. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, on Facebook, obviously. Hey, did I mention the Facebook group? Guys, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, it is growing, and we are seeing a lot of new people. Got a lot of questions, a lot of good, really good talk in there, and good support, guys. These are a group of people who understand exactly who you are, what you're going through, and they're either going through it with you, or they've been through it before and they want to help you out, because we all know just how difficult it is to be going through your own bomb crater. Guys, I hope you really enjoy this resources episode, because I loved talking to Mary every single time. I love talking to Mary. And this was no exception. I'm certainly happy that I was able to bring it to you, or am able to bring it to you via this episode. So without further ado, Mary Kathryn Johnson on We Rad Dads.
Hello and welcome back again. Rad Dads. Yeah, Rad Dads. I have an interesting twist on our show, and I have our first ever entrepreneur parent episode. And one of my mentors, someone I have reached, I don't even know if that's a word, several times now, and she has been a wealth of information. I'd like you to help me in welcoming Mary Kathryn Johnson to the program. Mary, how are you today?
Hey there. I am fan-stinkin-tastic. How are you?
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited to just take the next steps, whatever they are, and I'm sure that we'll talk about the mysteries that lie ahead, the plans that we have and that we had, and the course that we actually took.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's entrepreneurship is an interesting beast, and I find that, well, especially with me, it parallels being a parent in that it's that fish out of water experience.
It is totally, and it follows it just like you just said. It's you never know where it's going to go. It's a twist and a turn and a totally unique fish out of water experience. Just like parenting, there's no way you can explain parenting to anyone until they actually have kids, right? They look at you like you're nuts. And it's the exact same thing with entrepreneurship. My friends who are not entrepreneurs, I just know I can't talk to them about my business. When I'm excited about this new little thing and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got this. And they're just looking at me like, what the heck are you talking about? So yeah, it's totally unique. And I would say parallels completely parenting and entrepreneurship. The same stages, the same phases that we go through are mirrored in both. But that's the best part. That means we parents have an advantage. We can handle the perseverance, the adaptability, all those things that entrepreneurship requires, because we've already done it as a parent.
Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And that's gold. That's the meat and potatoes that I discovered along the way, that, hey, you know what? to be a parent, I don't necessarily have to know everything. I just have to try. And I find that the parallel there is just, there's so many. There's just so many, and I know we'll dive into them. But first, I didn't give you a proper introduction, Mary. Mary, you are founder of the Parent Entrepreneur Power currently, and you've launched several businesses along the way and are continuing to launch business ventures. You are a mother of 2 teenage boys and are looking forward to celebrating your 34th wedding anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, it's like looking back on your life, My gosh. Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Hey, I got a question for you. Does it ever slow down?
No.
Does it accelerate? That's my theory.
It really, it just gets different. Huh. If you think toddler stages and potty training and, all those massive growth spurt times are just overwhelming, and you just look at each day as, oh my gosh, what's going on? That's true. But letting go, Walter, letting go is harder than anything I've done as a parent. It is really, and that's where I am. I've got my 18-year-old in his second semester of college. He's got a girlfriend, and it's just so hard. Oh my gosh, it's hard. When to step back and let them make their own mistakes when you see clearly what's coming.
Yeah.
Right. And you see clearly that they're making a mistake, or this decision might bring them, to this or that. You just see it clearly because, we've been there. But when to not say anything because they're not going to listen to you. They have to experience it themselves. That is harder than anything. It's like watching your kid riding the bike and they're going to crash. You don't want to let them crash.
No,
right?
No.
You go and run after them and wait, and try and catch them. Well, when they're 18, you can't do that anymore. You really can't. Otherwise, they don't learn their own lessons and they don't like you.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly butting in. So yeah, it doesn't accelerate. It's another twist. It's another change. It's another skill you have to develop. That's all.
Yeah. And if to this point, you've spent your entire life doing that, being there and trying to be that resource and to unplug all that. That is, man, you have got some strength. I know every parent that has been there is just, it's tough. I've been approaching that recently, and I don't know that I'm looking forward to that.
It's not fun, definitely not. But the first time he actually didn't take my advice and he took his girlfriend's advice instead, oh my gosh, that was a huge blow. I mean, it was like a sucker punch.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? You're not going to do what I tell you should do. You're going to do what I had to really dig deep and go, okay, you don't need to get back. I'm Italian. My grandfather got himself out of the mafia. So
wow.
I really had to go deep and go, all right, woman, you're lucky you're not, I'm not trying to lay all the guns to get him to break up with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really, I had to get out of that old stuff that I had growing up. It was so hard. But I just bit my tongue and just went into my room and screamed into my pillow. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah. Best wishes with that. Oh man, I'll get there someday, and I'll probably be knocking on your door going, "How do you do this?"
You will. You will. It's coming, everybody. It's coming. You're in the middle of where you are now. But let me tell you, the reason you don't jump from 5 to 18 is because you got to get all your own knocks all along the way in order to get you ready for that. So
yeah. Oh, you just brought up something really awesome. I was probably going to touch on this later. In fact, I know I was, but how you need to go through that progression. Everything through pregnancy, everything you deal with, the birth, the first 6 months, toddler phase, all that stuff, and how you really need to those are the experience that build and grow and support what you're doing now and in the future. And you have to go through those things. You can't just jump in the middle.
Nope. That's exactly right. There's a reason it progresses that way.
And there, yet again, we have another parallel between entrepreneurship and parenting, because you can't, same thing. You need to build those experiences and you can't short circuit the mechanism. You can't just jump to the middle or the end.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can't go from no subscribers, no online presence, no brick and mortar business with your shingle out front to millionaire.
Yeah.
You just can't jump there in a week.
Not legally.
Well, yeah. We won't talk about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. That's another podcast.
Oh my gosh.
So Mary, you're obviously an abundant person. You have a great personality, and that's of course why I reached out to you. I've been listening to your podcast for about I want to say 3 years now. And I found so much value in it, especially walking in my journey. And I wanted to see if you had a summarization of your current outlook, your life, yourself, in some sort of a proverb, mantra, or quote, famous or not. If it's original, that's great too.
I have a quote that basically sums up everything that I feel about, again, parenting and business and life, relationships, yourself, everything. And it's from my favorite author, one of her books, and it goes like this. It is our choices that show us what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Mm. And that was said by Albus Dumbledore.
Oh, interesting.
Know who that is?
Yeah, J.K. Rowling. Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, that's it. It's our choices. Anytime someone asks me, how do you balance this, or because I started my first business when my boys were 18 months and 4 years old. And so how do you balance it? How do you do? And I had a part-time job at the time too. So staying home and part-time job and starting a business, and how do you balance it? And, balance is bull. I won't curse on your show, but it's bull. It just doesn't exist. It's really a matter of choices. Everything we do, we can choose to go down the rabbit hole of Facebook or, Instagram or webinars or whatever your current, rabbit hole might be, cat videos, whatever. Or we can choose to be productive and write a blog post or send an email to someone introducing ourselves or pitch our product to a prospect or something. It's all choices.
Yeah.
Or we can choose to shut the computer off and go watch a movie with our kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are really tough choices sometimes, and then I wrestle with that one myself because I know that the success of my endeavors as an entrepreneur and a parent, I mean, they reside solely on those choices and those moments. And sometimes you really have to, make certain sacrifices. What do you sacrifice though in those moments? And that is a dynamic question. There's no right answer for that.
That's right.
I personally, and I'm pretty sure you're the same way here, that I usually, when it gets to the decision point and those things are stacking up evenly, I usually err toward family.
I do. And, I'm fine if my business grows slower.
Yeah.
I just am. That's a choice I made. And I used to judge other people. I'll be honest here. I used to judge other moms, especially around that. And I don't anymore. But I used to be like, what? You send your kids to daycare? What in the world? Yeah. And I would, because I just, that's not a choice I would make. Because it's, and I think it's because you saw the difference. I've been married 34 years and I only have an 18-year-old. So we waited 15 years to have kids. So they are beyond precious to me. They were a very, very distinct choice. And so why would I give that up? Why would I have kids just to have someone else raise them? Yeah. To me, that doesn't mean that it's wrong for someone else. So I really had to learn that lesson and get off my stupid high horse and judgmental self and just go, hey, you haven't lived their life. You're not walking in their shoes. Let them make their own choices.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the 18-year-old doing that too. But anyway, but yeah, it is. And I would do the exact same thing. I would err on the side of kids any day. And if the business didn't make as much money, oh well.
Yeah. No, I think that's clutch. And you brought up yet another awesome point, something that I try and, at least subliminally talk about is that you don't know what you don't know. You can't judge that book. And I have judged people, constantly, parents especially, and I had no idea. Parents, yes, single parents even, and the single families, I had no idea what that was about until I found myself as a participant in a single family,
until you are one.
Yeah. and then dealing with, the blended aspect of, the other half of the family and all that stuff. And it's just like, I have so much more understanding and compassion and just everything that goes along with that now than I ever have before. And I just kind of look at my old former self and go, God, you're an idiot.
I know. But, I do that too. But I really am able to let go of that because I made decisions based on the information and the experience I had at the time. And I have different information and experiences now. So I can't go back there and judge myself based on what I know now. Because no matter what, I made those decisions. They were the right decisions at the time with the information and experience. And now they're the right decisions at this time with the information and experience. So you can't go back. I mean, if I could go back with the information I have now, I would make a different choice.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that now, back then. So let it go. Let it go. It's all right. You didn't go kill anybody. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness.
Yeah. Small favors.
Yeah. So tell us about Parent Entrepreneur Power. How are you showing up today in that business? And just let us know what's going on there.
Okay, there I am, a podcaster, loving that. I really, really love audio. I just do. And I get to talk to some incredible people. I have a weekly show. It's weekly, and we're on, I just published 160th episode today, the day we're recording this. And it's just been an amazing journey to be able to, I was early enough that some big names were new enough to getting podcast interviews that I was able to grab them without really a huge audience, right? So it's been incredible.
And we're talking Aaron Walker, Hal Elrod, Pat Flynn, like these are huge names.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Pat was actually the very first interview I did back in September of 2013 is when I interviewed him.
Wow.
And I just reached out and said, hey, you've inspired me to start this podcast. I would love to interview you. And he was like, sure, let's do it. And just was amazing and has been ever since. I've stayed in contact with him. I've been able to be privileged enough to chat with him privately on Skype and just, chatting about life and things and seeing him in a conference and being able to connect there. And he's just an incredible guy. He's just such a sweetheart. Nicest guy ever.
Oh yeah. Not just Pat Flynn. I think, anybody in the podcasting space fits that rubric. And that's another reason why I really wanted to be part of it is everybody I've had contact with in this realm has been amazing.
It's amazing. And, so I have a podcast there, but the business itself, it's parent entrepreneur success in more of the umbrella, if you will, the broad sense. And I do private consulting there. That's really, I have courses that I've developed in helping people navigate this whole world. When you talk about how do we get it all done, I have like a productivity that's the easy term for it. But basically I call it a power schedule. And I have courses on that, free email resource in addition to paid courses where I take you a little more by the hand. But the majority of what I do to make money there, I don't make money on my podcast. I don't have sponsors or anything like that. But I make money through coaching and courses. And it's a blast. It's amazing what people can do and the amazing gift they bring to the world as parents and entrepreneurs. And so I actually, here again, I get to actually participate in that. It's just, I pinch myself every day. It's so amazing.
Yeah, no, that sounds rad by lack of any other explanation.
Yes.
So well, I guess we'll get to this one here. I'm going to skip a question here, but parent or entrepreneur? This is the proverbial chicken or egg question. Which came first?
Well, the germination of the entrepreneurship came first, but the parenting physically came first. I actually, when we finally decided to start a family, it took us a year to get pregnant. And that was not normal in my family at all. So it was very strange. And so then we finally got pregnant, and then I had a miscarriage about 8 weeks later.
Sorry.
So that was another thing that no one had ever had in my family. So I'm just looking at myself going, what the heck is wrong with you, woman? What is going on? And so then it took us another year to get pregnant the second time. And I had a miscarriage again, almost to the day of the first. And so here again, I'm looking, going, all right, what is wrong? And of course, I always, women mostly, we look at ourselves. What am I doing wrong? What is it about me that's broken? And within 2 months, we were pregnant again. And this one finally stuck. Heard the heartbeat. And, when we went to the doctor, I'm like, something's wrong. Something's not right. And she did an ultrasound and boom, there's a heartbeat. I'm like, what? Yeah. What do you mean? I thought we lost it. What is that? And this was a brand new one. So that was just such a shocking, amazing experience that I went home that day and I waited for 3 months first to make sure we were past the most difficult part, the first trimester. Yeah. And I went to I'm dating myself again. I went to my Windows 98 computer and I brought up Excel and I created a spreadsheet in the form of a report card, like a school report card. Mm-hmm. It was a fall semester report card and I had 2 classes on it. Pregnancy 101, I got an A+ finally. Pregnancy prevention, I finally failed. And so I took that and I created it and I just printed it out on a piece of paper. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I did. Printed it out on a piece of paper, went to Target and bought a blank white maternity shirt, went down to the local sports shop at the mall and said, can you put this on this? And they said, sure. And an hour later, I had a maternity shirt with a report card design on the front of it that said Pregnancy 101 A+, Pregnancy Prevention F. And I wore that everywhere. And Walter, the response I got was exactly like you hear everyone. I got stopped everywhere. And with that, people were asking me, where did you get that? Oh my gosh, my daughter's a teacher. I have to get that. She's pregnant, blah, blah. I'm like, I made it. And I proceeded to tell them how I made it. Well, they didn't want to know how to make it.
They wanted it.
They wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Light bulb.
Before I could do anything with. So there is the entrepreneurial germination, the idea.
Yeah. I mean, literally almost at the same time as starting a family as well.
Yeah.
That is
awesome. Unfortunately, I had to go on to bed rest because I went into early labor. So I'm on bed rest. I'm actually in the hospital on drugs. I'm totally loopy to stop the labor, to stop the baby from coming out. And then back home, once that finally was done, on medication and on bed rest. And so life just halted. I couldn't do anything. And then, of course, the baby's born. And you know what happens when your first baby's born. You're totally thrown out of the loop.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? You have no idea what's going on.
The minute you get home from the hospital and like the smiles, the door closes, you're like, oh, crap, now what?
What did I do? Oh, and I thought he was the best baby ever. He didn't cry. He slept great. 2 days later, we go in for our 2-a-day appointment, and she's like, he's lost a pound and he's jaundiced. Oh. She's like, are you feeding him? Well, yeah, when he wakes up, but he's sleeping so well. No, wake him up and make him eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's stupid I was. It was just, and so the idea came, but then the kid came and life happened until the second time I was pregnant. 3 years later, I pulled out that same maternity shirt and got the exact same response. Now it's 2001, September of 2001. I'm 8 months pregnant and I'm walking out my neighbor's front door. And by this time, I had actually come up with a lot more designs after I got that exact same response. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So I wrote down a bunch of ideas and everything. But in September, I was walking out my neighbor's front door and I proceeded to fall and break both my legs. At 8 months pregnant. So I had one leg in each leg in a cast up to the knee. And so here again, I'm being tested. Let me tell you, we could talk a lot about that, but really, I'm a type A, go get them. Let's just do whatever has to be done. And this here was, you know what, woman, you better sit down and figure this out. Otherwise, if you're pregnant again, I'm going to break your neck until you figure this out. And so once I got through that, Walter, I got on the other side of that about 3 months later, legs healed, baby delivered. It was so amazing. It was such a, I look back at it now and it was the funniest thing I've ever experienced.
Oh, that's just one of those things. I love those stories too, because when you look back and you go, let me tell you a crazy funny story. But at the time, so terrible.
I was depressed. I had never, ever been depressed in my entire life. I didn't know what it felt like. I didn't know what the heck was happening to me. But finally on the other side of that, I looked at that and said, if I can do that with my sense of humor intact, I can do anything. And finally, I grabbed that business and ran with it. And it was the first novelty maternity store online ever in 2003.
Wow.
And it just exploded from there until, of course, 2008 hit. That's another story we can talk about.
Yeah, I bet. So was that Mommy Loves? Was that your first
That was
iteration?
Mommy Loves.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's still going strong. It's still online. People are still buying
Really?
the design. It's just that I don't do it anymore. I outsourced it all. So
Wow.
I used to have my spare bedroom with my entire setup, the blank shirts, the designs, my computer, everything. And someone would order a design on a particular size and style of shirt, and I would put them together, and I touched everything. And I was going nuts, because I was up to $50,000, $60,000, and I did a year. And this is on $34 shirts.
Wow.
And I did every part of it, touched everything, communication. I had no help whatsoever. Talk about the biggest lesson I ever learned in my life.
Well,
and
yeah,
so,
let's talk about that, because I mean, we're right there. I think that's honestly, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I got to start figuring out how to automate or outsource or that sort of thing, and that's a huge hurdle that a lot of entrepreneurs and parents, in just rearing children, really struggle with, because that's our babies.
Yes, but we naturally do it. Okay. Most of us, if we don't homeschool, most of us send our kids to school, or we send them to sports practice. Yeah. So we naturally let others help us. All right. I wouldn't be my kid's soccer coach. And many people do, but I wouldn't be my kid's whatever Taekwondo class teacher. Right.
Right.
So we naturally let people do that. We naturally let people take over some of that responsibility, especially when we send them to school. So we naturally do it there. But in our business, we don't naturally do it. We get caught up. And I'm telling you right now, Walter, if you are feeling that right now, you got to do it. The longer you hold on and say, well, no, I can't afford it, or I can't, nobody can do it as well as I, and it's going to take me twice as much time to train them on how to do it, that I might as well just do it. All those things, if you're saying all those things to yourself, shut up and just do it. I'm serious.
This is Mary Kathryn Johnson, the coach that I've turned to, because she says stuff like, shut up and do it. I need that kind of inspiration, if you will. So I really
I'll
appreciate
give you the
that.
actual inspiration, because on the other side of that, that's the smack on the wrist, right?
Yeah.
But the other side of that, the longer you hold on, the longer you keep doing that, the more you are stunting your business, and you are keeping your customers from getting what they need from you.
Yeah.
And it's all because your whatever fears, ego, whatever it is, whatever words you want to, it's all because of what's inside your head. And what you're doing is you're not just affecting yourself. You're every single customer that is not going to get what they need from you, because you can't get your stuff in order to be able to do it faster and easier and more streamlined.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. So there's your inspiration. You are stopping from getting the customer what they need, and in turn, growing your revenue like you really should be.
Mm-hmm. Like a business, like any other business.
Duh. Yeah. What a concept.
I love the Taekwondo takeaway here is that even if you were your son's Taekwondo instructor, you could do that, but you probably wouldn't be very good at it, and you wouldn't serve him well. So that's the correlation between family and customers and the tie-ins there. You can do all these things, but as soon as you start serving people, 80, 70, 60, 50% of your capacity, then they start finding other places to go as well.
That's right. That's right. And that's what I did. I swear I held on to that way too long, and told myself I can't afford it. I was making $60,000 a year on stupid $34 shirts. Of course I could afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a fear, and all those things. So, finally 2008 hit, and I had no choice. I was either going to fold it and let it go, or I was going to have to outsource it completely. There was no in between. There was no growing it to some big shop, that I could have had somewhere else. I kept it small, kept my head small, kept me small, and that never serves anyone.
No.
It really doesn't.
Blue Ocean Strategy, though I've not read the book, it's on the list. It's on the list. Yeah, and we'll get into that. I know that you have a ton of resources as well on your website, and We're just kind of knocking it all down. This is such a great flow as far as, the family into entrepreneurship, and now you're talking about your first business and your first kind of big wall that you hit is 2008. And did I hear you in the intro talk about how you were working part-time when your boys were young? So did these two things coincide? Is this when you started working part-time?
No, actually, I was working part-time before I started the business.
Okay.
So before I started the business and right at the beginning of the business, so I started it in 2003, November of 2000. Actually, I got the business license and started building the whole thing in March of 2003. Mm-hmm. And then at that time, I was working part-time as a headhunter. So I was a technical recruiter. And I did both. I built Mommy Loves and worked as a recruiter until January of 2006.
Wow.
And then finally, January of 2006, I gave my notice and said, I can't do both of these. I need to focus on one. And of course, I'm going to choose the one I'm building, my own baby, not yours. Sorry.
Right. Why did you make that decision instead of going to the easy corporate, like just clock in and have everybody else take care of it, collect my pension in X years? And why did you decide entrepreneurship was for you?
I didn't decide it was for me. It decided it was for me. Really, because just like that overwhelming feeling that I had to, if I could do this with my sense of humor intact, I can do anything. And I just jumped in. I saw equally that I had to go to a job, sit at a desk, try and create sales and do something that I had absolutely no passion for anymore, as opposed to staying up until 2 a.m, filling orders on my designs with people telling me, oh my gosh, my daughter loves this gift. She can't wait for me to buy her another one. Thank you for getting it there in 2 days in time for her birthday. I mean, all those things. I was having everyone else have the exact same experience I had when I wore that first report card shirt.
Yeah.
They were giving me all that feedback. Oh my gosh, my Little Pumpkin for Halloween was the best Halloween costume I've ever worn. I got so many compliments on my little cute pumpkin on my belly that said My Little Pumpkin. And all that stuff. How could you compare the two?
Yeah. No, you can't.
There's no way.
It's definitely something that I've noticed that, I've heard other people talk about, after you go, you kind of step into the entrepreneurship thing and you experience those type of interactions and reactions from people that it's very difficult to get back into a corporate or a normal, quote, normal line of business again.
It fuels you. It just fuels you to the next level. And it's just like anything else. Once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Once you feel something, you can't unfeel it. Once you fall in love, you can't unfeel that. You know what it feels like now.
Yeah. It's once you become a parent,
that's right.
Then
you can't.
Yeah, you can't go back.
You always are. Yes. It's the way it is. And so you can either make excuses for it if it doesn't work, which I could have easily done in 2008 and 2009. And I didn't finally let go of this dang thing until 2011. So, I mean, I am stubborn beyond belief, which I've also worked a lot on.
I think that actually plays to your strong suit as far as being an entrepreneur, because you have to weather some storms as well. You have to be,
yes.
but there's a line, between pushing too far and too hard. And so, do you have an experience of maybe when you push too hard, or maybe, because you push too hard, something was able to happen? I mean, obviously entrepreneurship is not easy, but do you have a story for us as far as, maybe you push something for too long, too far?
Parent entrepreneur power is that. It's morphed and changed. And again, I'm not letting go of it, but it's not, through the first couple of years of really not making any money, not having any coaching clients, not any products or, any courses or anything like that. I kept the vision of, there are people, if I'm actually able to bring people like Pat Flynn or Aaron Walker. I mean, we don't really think of Aaron Walker as a dad, quote unquote.
Oh, he's
an amazing. Yeah, I know he is. But his reputation, he has that in his private masterminds, husband and father kind of thing, mostly husband. But it's not like part of his persona, like a boss mom. Okay, Dana Malstaff. That's her brand, boss mom. Well, she's a mom. But people like Aaron Walker, people like Pat Flynn, They aren't telling everybody I'm a dadpreneur, right? They're not selling themselves as dads, even though we know that from talking with them and listening to them. So if there are people like that who are so incredibly successful and can also balance the parenting, there's a reason people want to hear from these people. And I just, those first couple of years, I'm putting out the cost for, podcast hosting and the website and blah, 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 and trying affiliates this. And, maybe I can do a course here and totally, shotgun marketing, whatever, throwing a dart at a dartboard I can't even see because I haven't asked my audience what they need and hoping something sticks. But I knew it was important because people were telling me so. People like you, people I have a good following on Twitter where people message me about whatever the latest podcast episode is, or they share their experience with whatever was going on in the latest podcast episode, and they'll tweet it and we'll have conversations with people. And these are people I've never met. I mean, I haven't physically met you for coffee somewhere. We chatted online, even though we live within an hour and a half, 2 hours?
An hour and a half away. Yeah. It just hasn't happened yet.
That's it. But that doesn't mean we can't have meaningful relationships and impact each other's lives. So that is what kept me going until finally the breakthrough that just opened the floodgates. And that was when I just tweaked this whole message of basically uncovering your entrepreneurial identity. And you basically, it's taking the whole notion of quote avatar, who's your audience, who's your person you serve, taking that notion much deeper and really finding out what transformation your potential client has when they interact with you or when they buy your product or service or whatever. So when I finally really just nailed that down, people resonated with that. And that's when people came to me and said, I need you to help me do that. And then that turned into marketing and helping them online and grow their business. And a lot of the things that I had been doing all along on my own, because I'm kind of a techie geek. I love learning new things and learning new products. And then that's what transitioned into the next business, which is beauty tech tools, because people that I was helping in my private practice in private consulting and parent entrepreneur power, many of them happened to be in the beauty industry. And so they asked me for more, can you do this? Can you do specific to beauty industry? Can you do? And so then the next business, Beauty Tech Tools, was born from that. And that's been successful immediately.
Yeah. But I want to really hit on this, and especially for my audience here, and like myself, I'm in a starting point. I don't have, like you, 15 years in business to draw from. So this doesn't happen overnight at all. This is a very slow progression, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. Maybe we have a failure to launch. Maybe what it was that I thought I was going to put out there isn't something that people really want or need or know about. Maybe my marketing channels are ineffective.
There are so many cogs to this wheel, right?
Yeah.
So many pieces that can go wrong, and you can't quite understand. But if you start at the beginning and get the beginning right, who is your audience? What do you provide for them that they've actually told you they need? And then once they consume whatever it is you provide for them, how is their life transformed? Because if you don't transform their life, they're just buying a T-shirt. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't transform their life. That's just something they need to wear, to cover up and not get arrested. Right.
Right.
So that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about transforming people's lives, changing people's lives, impacting them beyond just their basic consumption of goods. So if you answer those three things, who do I serve? How do I serve them? And what transformation do they have because of my products or services? If you know that down to as minutia niche as you can get, then the rest of it is mechanics. You can go do a search on Digital Marketer or QuickSprout or any of these marketing channels, and they can tell you all about how to do marketing great. That's just mechanics stuff, what's working now. But if you don't get that first part, and I'll give you a quick story between the two differences. So I have a client that's a nutrition consultant, and at first, the way she answered that question is, I help middle-aged women with their eating habits, with their, eat properly so they can lose weight and feel better. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many people online do we know of that do that?
I think all of them.
Yeah, There you go. So she's not going to be very successful.
Yeah.
Starting a brand new blog and saying that, right?
Right.
Too much noise. Now, through questioning, through getting down to really the nitty gritty of it and niching down, we've all heard that, I'm sure, if you're in any kind of an online space. So niching down. So she then came to the conclusion, and it's basically an intersection of what she loves to do and what her clients need. And everybody's afraid to do this because we think we won't have any clients, but it's the absolute opposite. So now she does. Now her statement is, I help middle-aged women with their emotional eating habits.
There you go.
So they can become free of the health concerns that hold them back.
Yeah, much more niche.
Yeah. And when someone lands on her site and it says something like that, they know immediately that they're in the right place if they have emotional eating habits that have caused health concerns that hold them back. They know immediately. And everyone else who's like, no, I don't have emotional eating habits. I got maybe 5-10 pounds because I ate too much at Christmas. They don't need her.
Right.
So she doesn't need to spend her time with those people because she's not going to impact them anyway. But the person who landed on it, she's going to change their life.
Yeah.
But if she didn't say that, she wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. And she's not going to waste her time on somebody who, that person you mentioned before, like, oh, it's just holiday weight. I can drop it. No problem. Yeah.
They don't need her.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. You get that right first, then the marketing, post on Facebook, do some, I've got all kinds of headline hacks and places I can go to make sure my headline is hitting the emotional and inspirational, intellectual buttons that it needs to hit. I've got those kinds of tools. Those are just mechanics tools you can find anywhere. Do some searches. You can find them. Or come hire me and I can help you. But you can find it on your own if you're not ready for that. Those are mechanics. But if you don't get that first statement right, none of the mechanics in the world will help you.
Nice. Yeah. And this is, I don't suppose you had this idea when you were selling a shirt, and then you finally discovered that where the wires are, where the real mechanics of this thing is.
Yes. And that's really something. So I launched in November of 2003. Okay. And I was the first one, the only one online. By March the next year, I had 2 major competitors that were online. And one of them was a sassy, there were 2 women that kind of started this brand, and they were saying like future MILF.
Oh,
okay.
great.
I don't know if you know what MILF means, but
no.
I had to look it up because I was like, what the heck is an MILF?
Seems like a really good family message.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's no way I would compete with that. We're not going to the same customers.
No.
At all. But so that was my first introduction to that's not my market.
Nice.
I don't have to worry about them. Right?
Yeah.
There were some of them that were very similar to that. Knocked Up. That's what they had one shirt that said Knocked Up. That was their big seller, Knocked Up. Well, yeah. I'm not that market. Mine was, what was it? Womb edition, currently under construction, already over budget.
Yeah.
Right? Or Do Not Touch It Kicks.
Right.
Okay.
It's just definitely classier than Knocked Up.
Very different.
Hoochie Mama or whatever.
Yeah. Very different. So that was my first introduction to, okay, I don't have to worry about them. That's not my market. I'm not going to feel jealous. Well, of course I felt jealous, but because I was the first. So what are you doing here?
Right.
But anyway, I'm not going to worry about it because we're in totally different markets. And that was my first introduction to who do I serve? How do I serve them? And how is their life transformed?
I love it. There's a million ways to get into entrepreneurship. And what's for somebody who has an interest, where would you suggest is the very initial starting point?
Oh my goodness, that's a real tough one because it depends on what you want to do. If you're like me, where you have a t-shirt business, that's a product. It's a very specific, easy road. You have something you're going to create, and you have to find where the customers are that might want to buy it, get it in front of them, right? But it's a product. So you can display it. You can have cute, pictures. I have a lot of greenery around my house. So I actually had moms that I knew that were pregnant come to my house, and I would basically have them model my shirts, and I would take pictures of them and be able to put those all online. So, but if you're in a coaching or a product-based business like online, you're doing courses, you're, coaching people, that's a totally different direction. It takes a totally different mindset and set of skills. The business itself is still the same, profit and loss. Mm-hmm. If you don't make a profit, but you're spending too much money, something's wrong.
Gotcha.
So that part's easy, but the online part, you're going to have a lot less expenses than you are in, say, a product like My Mommy Loves. I mean, my profit margin was probably 20. I think at the highest it was 30%, mm-hmm. And that was gross profit. That was before I took out all my expenses. So it got down to 3% after that.
Wow.
Whereas online, it's you could easily have 70% profit after expenses, because there really aren't any real hard costs like a blank maternity shirt someone has to make for me. So to get started, there are a couple of things if you're thinking about online, and that's kind of what we're both in that space right now, right?
Yeah.
So most people are looking that direction. So to get started with that, just to understand the different models of business, I would suggest a couple of different people that you go investigate. One, we've already talked about at length, Pat Flynn. Smart passive income.
Yeah.
Start there. Check out the passive income model. It's not easy. It's not quick. Nothing is. But it's something that you don't have to necessarily have this bright idea that just consumes you. All right. Like My Mommy Loves did me. Mm-hmm. It's something you can look at things that you use, and you might be able to make affiliate revenue by suggesting it to other people. There are a couple of them, and this is it. We've all heard of the MLMs, right? Multi-level marketings. Yeah. We've all heard of the Amways of the world and Mary Kay makeup and all that stuff. There is a new generation of MLM, and MLM's kind of a dirty word now, but there's a new generation of affiliate marketing, and it's more of an affiliate franchise. Personal franchise affiliate marketing. And there are a couple of products that I would highly recommend you look at. Number one is this product called Helo, Helo. It is wearable technology. But this thing's gone so far beyond Apple Watch, it's unrecognizable. This is actually health-based. You can get one of these Helos, and I think just buying one for yourself is $320.
Wow.
So obviously it's pricey, but what this thing does, it has all of your health right there on your wrist. Mm-hmm. It has an app where you can download all of your statistics, your blood pressure, your glucose levels are coming, all kinds of different things, and you can send that printout to your doctor. So if you find your heart rate, you go to your doctor and you're like, I just felt like I was going to faint. My blood pressure dropped. And of course, it's not happening when you're sitting in the doctor's office, right? The most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah.
You can actually have that recorded because you have this Helo on, and then send it to them and say, look, at this time on this day, here's the actual reading. And it's incredible. But this is a new generation of multi-level marketing, and I really don't want to tarnish it. I'm not in it, so I'm not trying to sell it to you.
Right.
Okay. But I don't want to tarnish it by saying MLM. It is really more of a franchise. You get this, and then you tell people about it, and you can have, say, I have my father-in-law who's 82, who climbs on the roof of his 2-story house to fix the roof. I'm just killing them. Anyway, and I can get one for him, and we can all be connected, and he can share it with me. It has a panic button, and I can be on his network so that if he hits that panic button, I immediately get alerted. So it's just incredible what's happening with this.
That is awesome. I actually had that idea about a year ago to have a wearable tech and health monitor like this, a little over a year ago now. And so I'm really happy to see that it's coming to fruition.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
It's just come to the United States. It's been in Europe for 5 years already.
Like most things.
Yeah, exactly. So it started in Italy, this guy in Italy, and it's huge. And it's just, there's only 15,000 people repping this in the United States so far. Think about it, 15,000 people, and we've got how many billion?
Oh yeah.
So it's really early stages. So if you're looking for something with not a real huge investment, $320 is, it's pricey to buy a piece of equipment. But that's it. And well, they do have the thing where if you want to have your family involved in stuff, it's I think $50 a month, $49 a month for that monitoring and communication kind of thing. And that's where your residual income comes from. So you sell this to people, or you bring them to this device, and they buy it for their whole family, and then they pay the monthly fee. You get a kickback of that every month. And it adds up really quick.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I was unaware of this. So that's a great opportunity for you rad dads out there. If you're interested in passive revenue, I mean, well, maybe this isn't so passive, but still it's something you could do on your spare time if there were such a thing.
That's right.
And then start building a bit of commissions here and a bit of revenue there. And I think that this is an awesome opportunity. I'm going to look into this because, like I said, this is an idea that I had. So it's certainly something I can get on board with.
Definitely.
That answers the $1 million question, which I will go back and in reverse order. I'll ask the question afterwards, kind of like Jeopardy. What's an area of entrepreneurial opportunity that you currently see gathering momentum? So Hilo. It's hilo.com, I assume?
Yes, it is. I have a friend who's a rep that I'm thinking of joining her team kind of thing, or at least going in under her. So if you want, I don't know if you can get it without knowing someone. Probably you can go to the site and just start it yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Hilo, Helo. It's amazing. So that I would say, and it's the new generation. Let's just let MLM drop from our vocabulary because it leaves a nasty taste, right? This isn't that. This is basically like buying a franchise, but you actually buy the thing. You don't just buy a franchise, and you don't have to have a bunch of these Hilos in your house waiting to be sold.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works anymore. That's why you have the franchise. You just send people to you have your own site, your own page with your branding on it and their Hilo, and people buy from that. And you don't fulfill anything. You don't monitor anything, nothing. You just introduce people to it. They buy it, and it gives so many more benefits than that $320 if you are at all concerned about health. It's amazing.
This is the goose with the golden eggs right here. So thank you, Mary, not only for all the wisdom and everything. And I think I've got just like one question here, but as far as both being an entrepreneur and a parent, what is the best thing about that, and what is the biggest drawback?
The best thing about it is you can actually have your cake and eat it too. I mean, you can have the best of both worlds. You can actually be present and have the freedom, flexibility, all of those things that are buzzwords nowadays, but you can actually have it. It's hard work. It takes time. But once you get over that hurdle and you're actually making money and you can actually get yourself into some kind of semblance of a normal, whatever normal means, routine, the flexibility is vital, because I'm telling you now, I've got 18 and 15-year-old. The 2 and 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 and 10 stages are gone, never to return. Never.
Yeah.
So if you missed it, you missed it. You're not going to get it again unless you have grandkids, and that's not going to be the same. So it really is the flexibility. The downside is the exact same thing, because you have to make choices. You have to make choices as to where to spend your time. And it is so easy with those of us who have this entrepreneurial, once we get that pull, it is so easy to just let ourselves get totally consumed by the business and let go of that freedom.
Yeah.
And not use it. I would say the freedom is the benefit, and it also is the drawback, because you have to choose. It doesn't happen for you, like school, sending them to school and having them grow up in front of your eyes. They're going to grow up whether you like it or not. No matter what you do, things are going to change because of their growth. They're your kids. But your business, you have to choose to make those things happen. And that's where many of us get in trouble. But yeah, the freedom is it. That I know the trip we took to Europe, my family last year.
Yeah, tell us briefly about that. Go ahead.
It was because of this whole entrepreneurial thing. We took a month off, and the four of us went to Europe, and we went. Basically, my husband laughingly nicknamed it the Blood Trail. We followed our blood. We followed our DNA. We had our DNA tested before we went, each of us. And we each got to pick a country that represented what we wanted to find out about our heritage. And then each of us, whatever country we chose, we had to actually create the whole trip for the whole family in that country, decide what we're going to do, get tickets, where we're going to stay, everything.
Wow.
Get us around. So when we were in my youngest son chose London. When we were in London, he directed where we went. We followed him. My husband chose Norway. When we were there, he directed where we went and what we did. And so all we did was go, okay, what are we doing today? And boom, there we went. And so it was really cool. It was so much fun to experience that and to take a month off and have my business continue. And podcasts, all that, everything happened while I was gone, and I didn't have to be there to do any of it. So, it was incredible. That's freedom to me. And so now, totally, because of that, I'm making more plans for being in different countries for much longer than a month. So once you see, you can't unsee.
Yeah, I mean, that is a reward right there. And that's such a great model, a parenting model as far as travel goes with, anywhere from school age to teenage kids and above is to pawn that responsibility onto others. And I think that, I don't know, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I would say that they really enjoyed that process of taking charge and planning and all that.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, they did to a certain extent. They still had to do that work. It was tough for them because it's not easy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they totally talk about independence, right? Yeah. They got to actually figure out what they wanted to do. So it wasn't like mom and dad just said, this is what we're going to do, and they just had to go along. They got to figure out what they wanted to do and see the sites they wanted to see. And we had to go along with them. So my youngest son, he loves art and history and science. So we went in London, the Science Museum, the Natural History Museum. So I mean that's where we went. He wasn't as concerned about Hyde Park and Buckingham Palace and all that stuff. He's like, who cares? I want to go to the museums. Yeah. And then we also got to go see Phantom of the Opera, and they chose that too. They had all the different plays and musicals available, and they chose Phantom of the Opera in the theater where it first debuted in the 80s. So it was so cool. It was just so amazing.
That is a ninja power move parent a tactic right there. I'm totally going to build that into my model as well. And I think that is a great way to strengthen relationships and trust and communication with your kids, and really just allow them to blossom on their own. So that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Mary.
You're welcome. And remember, once you allow them to do that, that means you got to shut up and go.
Yeah.
You can't complain and try and influence and, get them to do what you want to do. You really have to let them go and see who they are, see who they're becoming, see what they're interested in. And you never know. It might be a new career path for them. Who knows?
Yeah. No, that's phenomenal. Yeah, Mary, we could talk for hours, literally. I know that we could just take the rest of the day and talk about this sort of thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this is it for part one. I'm sure we'll talk to Mary again.
Oh, and can I tell you real quick? There's on Facebook. There's a new group. One of my buddies, Scott Barlow, from Happen to Your Career. He just officially did this with his kids too. They've spent 6 weeks in Europe, and he started a podcast called Family Passport. So if you're interested in more information about that, check that out. Family Passport.
That sounds awesome. I'm going to start listening to that one myself. And I'll be honest with everyone, that's exactly where I want to be myself. I would love to be able to world school my son. And I think that there's nothing greater in this world than travel and those experiences, as well as family. But Mary, before we go, how do we support you? How do we give back for all the wisdom and encouragement that you've given us here today?
The best way you can do that is to tell me how it impacted you and what you're going to do with it. I really love that. It's because otherwise it's just all hot air, which I can easily provide. Right? It really, if it touched you in any way, whatever part, I would love to hear about it. You can email me directly, Mary at parententrepreneur.power.com. I love connecting. You can go to Twitter, parentepower.com, or excuse me, parentepower on Twitter. But tell me what it was that influenced you or that touched you or that made you stop and go, what? And what you're going to do differently because of it. Not just absorb it and go on with the rest of your day, but what if there's something that you think you can use and make your life different and better, please let me know. I would love to know about it. And we can, who knows, start another connection just like Walter and I did, and who knows how we can help each other in the future.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. And the reward of just knowing that you've impacted somebody or said something that resonates with somebody is, I know exactly how that feels. And reach out, Rad Dads, reach out to Mary and tell her what you think. I implore you to do so at any point, whether this is the first broadcast or this has been in the books for a while. It doesn't matter. It's just wonderful to know. Anyway, Mary, I'm going to let you go for now, but you're welcome back at any point in time. And please don't be a stranger. Thank you for sharing your wisdom nuggets and your family tactics with us again today. And I look forward to speaking with you on a continued basis.
Oh, Walter, thank you so much for allowing me to come and share and chat with you. It's been a blast.
Yes,
and it has. I can't wait to do it again. And I can't wait to continue our connection as we already have.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mary.
Okay, boom. Mind exploded all over the wall here. Did I not tell you? Did I not warn you about the nuggets, the resources, the energy, the person Mary is? And she is just amazing. Guys, take her up on that contact. Just let her know how she impacted you in just one sentence or anything like that. And I'll have that email address posted on the quick links and the show notes, but I'll also tell you right now, it's Mary, Mary, at parententrepreneur.power.com. All right, spell entrepreneur correctly. I know it's difficult sometimes when my thumbs are huge and the text is small. Yeah, it's first world problems, right? Hey, anyway, so many things in there, so many things. We obviously could have talked for so much longer, but we're talking about not comparing ourselves to others. And no, we didn't talk about that specifically, but one of the things that Mary and I had talked about a year ago when our first discovery call, and she graciously donated her time to me, someone she didn't even know. And I reached out just like I was telling you to, just by email and say, hey, listen, I'm doing this and I need your help. Mary's that kind of person to be able to help you. The one thing that she told me in my entrepreneur journey so far is to not compare myself to other people. And we're talking the John Lee Dumases, the person that I got to admit, I look up to him. I look up to Pat Flynn. I look up to Aaron Walker. I look up to these guys, and they're all parents too, but they're not parents like me. They don't, they have their own rhythm and flow, and they found it. It wasn't, they didn't just emerge, there was a process here. And Mary and I talked about this process and her process, which spanned so far, 10 years plus? There's no such thing as an overnight success, guys. But as the proverb goes, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Apply that to your side hustle. Start thinking about something that, maybe you want to have a little side hustle. Maybe you want to have a little income. What would that mean to you? And we talked a little bit more about what it meant to her to create her own product and why she ended up going away from her corporate job to follow something, work nights and work late, but having the satisfaction of people telling her how she does it. Again, guys, contact her. This is literally the fodder. This is the food. This is the fuel that keeps people like myself and Mary going. When we just hear from people going, you know what? Thanks. I appreciate what you do because of X, Y, and Z, or you help me this, or you made me think out of the box. Or even me, I would even love to hear you guys tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I could be doing better. Guys, it's all feedback for me, and it makes the show even better. So I would appreciate your comments too. Walter at weraddads.com. Guys, oh man, so much going on in here at Hilo. All right, I wanted to touch on Hilo real quick. All right, because honestly, this is a product that I thought about a year ago. And wanted to bring it specifically to the We Rad Dads community. Guys, I've made those contacts. And if you want to know more about Hilo, I'm your guy. So contact me about that. Type in the subject line, Hilo, interest or information, and I will get you what you need to know. Because that is such a great technological advance, and I see a huge application for it for We Rad Dads, blended families, and families overall. Guys, one other thing I want to talk about is the Europe trip. Do you think that Europe trip would have happened if Mary hadn't years ago taken the step into entrepreneurship and taken the step into side revenue? She didn't know it was going to last, this long. She didn't know what it was going to become. But look at her now. She's able to go to Europe for a month, take time off, and just do whatever. And more than that, I really, really wanted to point out the example of allowing her family to plan and lead the way. Wow, what an amazing tactic. What a ninja parent move. And I'm sure her boys were super excited to not only research all that stuff, but to get there on the ground and play tour guide. I mean, what an empowering parent move. I mean, what would you expect from her, by the way? And if you're not listening to Mary's podcast, it's Parent Entrepreneur Power. Find it on iTunes and wherever podcasts are basically, given away for free. All right, guys. I'm sure there's a ton of stuff out here, and I want to leave you with one of her parting quotes, and it says, "Once you see, you can't unsee." Now, that's not an original quote, but guys, let me tell you, I got to looking at where I'm at, and as much struggle as I've been through in the last year, my entrepreneur hustle, and that's such an overused term, but I'm just going to go with it. My entrepreneur hustle is absolutely priceless to have the time freedom that I do, and it really allows me to be present with my son. I want that. Amongst everything else that I'm trying to do for you guys, I want that for you too. I want you to be cohesive with your other. I want you to be a great co-parent. I want you to be an awesome dad. I want you to experience time freedom and financial freedom. And these are the tools that I'm trying to bring you guys. Guys, I would love your feedback. So, hey, I'm going to stop right there. Thank you so much again for lending me your ear for the week. And I'm looking forward to having you again next week. Guys, share, please. If you got anything out of this, please just share it forward. Do that social share. Tell somebody about it. Text it to them forward. Just whatever way you can, and however you genuinely would interact with somebody. Guys, that's what I would ask for. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys, stay up, stay connected, and stay rad, dads. All right, see you next week.
Well, that's it for this episode of We Rad Dads. I sincerely thank you for joining us. Don't forget to look us up at www.weraddads.com. There you can find links to our Facebook page and Twitter account. Got a question or comment? It may be featured. Email me, walter@weraddads.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for joining us. And remember, stay up, stay connected, and stay rad, dads.